Hi guys, today we're going to talk about luxury vinyl plank flooring, LVP. We're going to tell you all about it, the benefits and uses for it. So come on in. A lot of our clients are installing it now. It's a very, very popular product. The benefits of it are that it's waterproof, 100% waterproof. Very, very easy to install. It mimics hardwood, so it's a nice substitute. And, you know, in relation to cost, it's a lot more affordable a lot of times. So some of the specifics on it, as you can kind of see, it lays down very, very easily. It's called a snap lock loose lay floating system. And so most of the vinyl flooring that we install has an underlayment built into it, a padding, so to speak. Just kind of drop it in place, make sure that it stays tight to the next piece, and then so forth and so on. So you kind of work your way from one section to the other, just like you would like engineered wood flooring or real wood flooring, but so much lighter, so much easier to maneuver and to cut. It's scratch resistant. A lot of the newer flooring material is made with PVC. So long term, it's a nice, it's an awesome product for long term use. What you want to make sure you do before you install, as you can see, we kind of started this this kitchen family room area, is you take the old flooring up or you have an existing condition. You want to make sure that you apply what you call like a minor leveling or a minor floor correcting application to eliminate any unevenness or imperfections in the slab or the underlayment, so to speak. So if it's a wood floor, you're going to do the same type of application. If it's concrete, obviously you can see here was what we did. But this particular residence, the existing slab was good until it got to about here, and then we applied what we call self-leveling material. As you can see, this is what it's dried now, but it's a very, very thin application to kind of help feather and blend out the existing versus what we want it to look like. So one of the downsides of the LVP is due to the fact that it is relatively thin. If you don't have a nice flat surface and there's a dip in your slab, over time the flooring material could actually contour to the underlayment or the subfloor underneath. So it's very, very important to both grind any high spots as needed, as well as apply like a self-leveler or floor condition to the existing slab so that we have a nice flat surface to work with. One of the other benefits of using this type of material is that it's very easy to cut, super, super simple to cut. It is high density, basically PVC plastic, and so, making precise cuts around, door jambs, furniture if needed, things like that. So when we're installing hardwood in people's homes, the number one thing that they're concerned about is the waterproof factor, right? And making sure that, the kids don't drop, juices and water on the floor, or the kids are in the pool and they run through the house and, it leaves water. Couple specifics that you want to pay attention to as far as when purchasing or when ordering material. The luxury plank or vinyl plank flooring comes in different millimeter thicknesses. Okay, that's how it's measured, that's how it's bought and sold. So what I would recommend is, especially in nicer homes, you want to make sure that thickness here is at least 8 millimeters thick. The reason why we like to go a little thicker here is under your feet as you're walking through the house, you can feel the difference, right? So if it's thin, if it's 3 millimeters, 5 millimeters, 6 millimeters, it just has a different feel underneath your feet. So you really want to make sure that if cost allows, I try to stay in the 8 millimeter plus. I think they all go all the way up to 12 to 15 millimeters depending on the brand and the materials. So this absorption pad underneath, like we talked about, is a lot of times is built in to the flooring itself. You can kind of see, so it kind of allows over time for some movement. And then when you're walking on it, like we talked about, that thicker material, that 8 millimeter material with the padding underneath, has a nice comfortable feel underneath your feet. So when we come up to the wall here, as you can see, we're working our way across, right? And when we get to the wall, we leave a little bit of gap, right? And the reason behind that is to allow for movement. By restricting it and running it tight up against the drywall or up against the plate behind the wall there, you're preventing that allowable movement, and you will have problems. So you want to make sure that there's a little bit of relief gap there along the edges. Obviously, we'll put a nice piece of baseboard down here on top of the floor. You'll cover that seam, you'll never see it. So baseboard's typically about 3/4 of an inch. As we come in here, we can see some of the baseboard material that we're planning on using, guys, here is what we call MDF, medium density fiberboard, is what the acronym stands for, MDF. Huge benefits for using this material. Very, very easy to cut, very cost effective, okay? It's paintable, and it's super duper easy to install. As you can see, this material here has a detail on the very top. This particular piece happens to be approximately 6 inches tall, which is very, very popular right now. As we lay the board down onto the flooring, right, because this is the part that goes against the wall, this is the part that's going to go, you can see that it's about maybe a 1/2 inch to 9/16 thick, so it'll cover that gap, that little expansion gap, to allow for flooring material to move a little bit. It's a very cost-effective way to finish out the flooring and the wall transition. As you can see here, guys, this is a sample box of the material. At the very edge, outside edge of the box, you'll see there's a label with all the specs on it, okay? What we want to pay attention to here, guys, is obviously you've got your color code, so that's basically the die lot number. You got the name of the material, which is what? Cheyenne. But most importantly, we talk about size, right? We've got right there, we've got 8mm thickness, and then it talks about the breakup of it. We've got 5mm plus 1.5mm plus 1.5, okay? That's the combination of it, but in general, this is an 8mm thick flooring material. We always, when we order material, we always go about 10% over. So, you know, if you have 100 square feet of flooring that you roughly want to install, we'll add about 10% for miscellaneous cuts and or waste. So that's kind of the general rule. It's always a good idea to order a couple extra boxes to store in the garage, or or leave somewhere in the house, so that in the event that for whatever reason you have to take up the floor, maybe you had a slab leak, or you decided to put a carpet runner in some areas. Once you peel back that flooring, you have new material to put back. So one of the downsides of having this vinyl flooring installed is, as we showed you, it's a snap lock interlocking system. And so in the event that we have to take boards apart or remove the flooring for any reason, a lot of times that connection breaks, right? So that snap pin application has a tendency to kind of ruin the piece that you're taking out. We're not always able to reinstall the same boards that we had already taken out. So just FYI, that's why it's always a good idea to keep extra boards in the garage, or in a storage shed, so that you can make the necessary repairs in the event that you have to. So yeah, luxury vinyl plank flooring is awesome, scratch resistant. As we talked about, it's waterproof, is somewhat affordable and easy to install. So if you liked or thought that this was helpful, please like the video below, and we'll give you more information on luxury vinyl plank flooring.